And hello, force multipliers. Thank you all so much for all of the work that y'all have done for North Carolina last cycle, because I remember the last time that I was on a call like this, it was talking about both the Supreme Court fight that we had been in after we had won 6 statewide races in North Carolina. One of those that Republicans took to court because they were so mad at us winning a Supreme Court seat by 734 votes out of 5.5 million cast in the state last year, even though we did not see the federal wins that we needed. And I know that the last also time before that I've been on a call with you all was about supporting our year-round organizing program in North Carolina too. So just from the bottom of my heart, thank you all for the work and the time, the energy, and the money that you all have given to make North Carolina what it is today, because we could not have done what we did last election cycle without your support. Tonight, though, I'm here to talk to you all about what the hell is going on in the South. Because right now, we have got Republicans that are using election subversion tactics and are trying to make sure that they know the rules of the game and that are changing them before they've even been played for next election cycle already in North Carolina. I just talked about the fact that North Carolina had 6 statewide wins last year. And what Republicans did in our General Assembly, even after North Carolina Dems had come in and broken the Republican supermajority in our state House, they passed a bill that was modeled as a Hurricane Helene relief bill for Western North Carolina that had been through one of the worst natural disasters our state had ever seen in its history, modeled a relief bill as a way to shield what they were really doing, which was stealing and having a power grab against our new incoming Democratic governor, Josh Stein, who was one of the 6 statewide wins that we had last November in North Carolina. What they did with Senate Bill 382 was strip the power of the governor to appoint both the state board of elections and county boards of elections in North Carolina. Our boards of elections, for those of you that do not know, are the places in each county that dictate where polling locations go, how they're operated, the hours of them, and where they are across every county in the state. And Democrats have had control of those boards for the last 200 years in North Carolina because we have held the governor's office for so long in this state. And that has changed after we have seen Republicans try to steal that power and be successful with it. And so North Carolina right now is at a time where we know that Republicans care about stealing elections and they are willing to do anything they can in order to make sure that in 2026 they have the majorities that they need. We just saw them take North Carolina and re-gerrymander our state from the 10-4 minority that we had in Congress to a potential 11-3 minority in Congress, even though we know Don Davis will still run for that congressional seat. And we fully intend to meet Republicans at the mat in every way, shape, and form. But tonight, we're here to pitch you all on expanding the North Carolina Democratic Party's voter protection team, because we are making sure that everywhere in all 100 counties in the state that we have got somebody at each precinct polling location to monitor what's going on election day. And they're called election liaisons. But right now, I have a one-person voter protection department. Kat Lawson has been a phenomenal voter protection director for us right now throughout the 2025 municipal year. But everything Republicans are doing are trying to throw more and more at us to be able to prevent us from keeping up. And right now, we wouldn't want to be able to add a person to that department. We just saw Trump's Department of Justice came in North Carolina and sue our state board of elections to purge the voter rolls of over 100,000 voters in the state already, under the same guise that they used from the election denialism that they tried to make happen with our Supreme Court justice race last year. And so right now, North Carolina Dems have launched a registration repair program in our voter protection department. And we've contacted all 82,000 people that are currently still on the registration repair list, either through a phone call or a door knock, because of our year-round organizing program and strong voter protection team. We need y'all's help tonight to be able to expand that program. And all eyes, in my opinion, should be on the South right now for what we're looking at as the place that election denialism and gerrymandering and every bit of extremism from Republicans is coming from, and the petri dish to take into other states in the future. We are the only battleground state also where Republicans now control our elections. We are the front line of defense against that, and we have got the most important U.S. Senate seat up, in my opinion, in 2026. No offense to my fantastic chairman that's up behind me. So Curtis, I'm gonna pass this over to you. Thank you all again for being on here tonight, and I deeply appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, Anderson, so much. I also want to thank the people of Force Multiplier. You gave me so much support when I ran for Congress, and you have been so important to investing in races all across this country. And I want to make a little news here. Because of the investments that you made uh, through just this event. On Wednesday next week, we are opening a Detroit office 1 year earlier than this party has ever done in an election year moving forward. It has always been in September where they have had those offices open. That is a huge part of the problem with the Democratic Party. What I can tell you is that people are tired of us showing up in September and asking for their vote. They want us to be working in tandem with them. They want us to be in their communities, not just showing up and asking for something at the last minute. So we're having the grand opening on Wednesday, and that's only happens because of people that gave on this chat. And I want to just say how much I appreciate that. And really, when you look at what happened in Michigan, you have to analyze it from how do we lose. I think the national story is that last year Michigan was lost because of what happened in Dearborn in the Arab American community, and that is certainly part of the story. But the real story is we lost by a death of 100 cuts. When you look at it, Michigan has 83 counties, and in 79 of them, Democrats lost ground. We lost ground in the Detroit metro area, in cities. We lost ground in suburbs, and we lost ground in rural areas. And what really I can tell you is that when you talk to people on the ground, what you hear is they feel like Democrats didn't show up and we're not there for them in their communities. And that is what has to change. I'm proud that Michigan is one of a handful of states, in North Carolina as well, that has a full time organizing program. What does that mean? What that means is that we are doing deep off your doors, having real conversations with people, that we are building local county parties. In Michigan, we say we have Project 83, but there were 4 counties that didn't have a county party structure. Right now, we have already in since I've been chair in February, Iron County, Michigan, which is you have to drive through Wisconsin to get to, now has a county party for the first time in more than a decade. We had 50 people at a bar ready to get out, ready to do the work to flip counties like that. I'm in December going up to Montmorency County for their first meeting in more than a decade. So it's rebuilding those actual structures that I think is incredibly important because it's hard to get somebody to vote for a Democrat if they don't know a Democrat. It's
Mhm.
hard for to it's hard to sell a Democrat from California. It's easier to sell somebody from your own backyard. And that's why these full-time organizing programs are important. They're also important, by the way, because we do town halls in every Republican district where Republicans have refused to meet with their constituents. We're there showing empathy and actually learning what's going on in those communities. And I think that's incredibly important. When we were in the Senate, the state Republicans in Michigan passed what I think is the worst budget in history, cut funding for state police, mental health for kids, free breakfast and lunch, cut access to rape kits in the Human Trafficking Commission. We went and knocked on the doors of every marginal Republican and said, call your each one of their constituents and said, call your representative. And we actually got them to back down. We changed policy in people's lives. And really, to me, the Democratic Party is a force for good in the world. That's why I'm a Democrat. I assume that's why all of you are here as well. This is not a social club. You do this because you believe in that investment. In Michigan, we have a full time organizing program. It's great. We need more investment in Detroit because we lost significant votes in a city that has been 90% Democrat. We lost significant votes last year because people felt like the Democratic Party had abandoned them, which means we got to be at every block party. We got to be at every neighborhood group. We have to be part of the conversations that are happening in the ground in that community. In rural areas, it's time for us to show up as well. Project 83 is great, but in the Upper Peninsula, we have one organizer for 16 counties and 2 time zones. That's a driving job, not an organizing job. In Northern Michigan, we have one organizer for 20 counties. So the investments that are being made are helping to rebuild those programs as well. And finally, we have to get back into the city of Dearborn. We lost a huge percentage of the Arab vote last year. And a lot of that is about what happened in Gaza. But what I will tell you is also about us refusing to be in communication with people. I talked to people on the ground that said that they knew they were being used by the Trump campaign, but at least someone was using them. That is a sad statement in this country. And what I see all the time is people that just want to be heard. And uh, we have a responsibility to get back into those places. I was at more iftar celebrations this year, talking to people about the Democratic Party and what we can do better. And I will say I was also endorsed by the Jewish caucus for chair. So we have the Jewish caucus and Arab caucus now working together in Michigan. They're partnering on immigration issues. They're fighting back together. And it's those kinds of relationships moving forward that I think builds trust and builds the ability to actually hold on to votes that we are losing across the state. In Michigan, we are an election that has never happened before. We have an open Senate seat, open governor's race, open attorney general, open secretary of state, every seat in our state house, every seat in our state senate, and we have three flippable seats that can change Congress, all going on in Michigan. While that is a challenge, and it is a challenge, it is also an amazing opportunity. I'm proud that we have an amazing staff. We have 25 people. I think that when Anderson and I compare what we have very similar challenges. We got to fight every single day to make sure that we can make the investments that have to happen on the ground to win. And I appreciate all of you being part of those investments. And I plan on thanking Force Multiplier as part of our Detroit office opening. We're doing a food drive as well as part of it because it's important for us to also be collecting food with what's happening right now with SNAP in our areas. But I'm incredibly proud uh, to have all of your support in rebuilding and eventually winning in Michigan.